Hello everyone, welcome to a video on the channel. We're going to be discussing the Shuckle Premier League 3. Um, my name is Kevin. I'm joined by my good friend Alex. Alex, say hello.
Hi, how's it going?
We are both very avid draft league watchers and enjoyers, but singles too, but we're VGC players to our core. And well, maybe not Alex. Maybe you're a singles player to your core, but we are excited for uh, the Shuckle Premier League to go VGC, and we're gonna look at the teams that were drafted and do a little team breakdown for everyone. So excited to jump into it. Alex, you excited?
Uh, I'm as excited as I can be. Uh, it's a good mix of some infamous singles draft league players and some elite VGC players. Ones who've been playing the game for years. So it's gonna be cool to see where like the mix of draft and VGC skill levels, like how it comes about and takes off in this league, and what kind of strategies each person approaches. So I'm definitely interested in the season coming ahead.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think that's a good point. Like, I think a lot of the VGC people that they got involved I like dabbled in draft league for sure, but like are definitely maybe not maybe a little rusty. I think is the word I'll use. And we'll see if their like VGC prowess like takes over, or if the draft league or if Kyle A cooks up some demon set that no one's ready for that week, and
Yeah,
like stuff like that.
it
But
should definitely be good. Uh, yeah, some of these singles players definitely got a little bit of rust, but uh, we'll get to that when we get to that.
yeah, let's oh, that's the draft board. If people are unfamiliar with draft league, Pokemon are tiered like so. 20 points was the max. Pokemon that they thought were illegal, but the best available. I think the rule set that they're using is like Reg F, but like a little different. There's like mythicals and stuff allowed, um, but like restricteds and stuff are banned, as you see on the left. And yeah, like things like we don't ever see in VGC. Like the first thing I noticed is like Manaphy, Shaman Sky, stuff like that being allowed is really cool. The highest Pokemon not drafted is Metagross. I think that's really funny. Metagross has not had the best of times in Scarlet and Violet. Um, Definitely still some demons on the board as well, which is what happens in draft. Not everything can be taken. Not every mon fits every team. So excited to see you know what was actually taken. Alex, what do you think? Like, just looking at the draft board quickly before we look at the teams. What is like a Pokemon that you think is like shocked that's not on a team?
um, I just hopped over once you mentioned it. Um, I I see a lot of good value in 13, and arguably I think Heatran and Screamtail in 14 were also good value picks that might have been missed on a couple of boards. Uh, Screamtail I think is kind of undervalued in this league. Encore disabled like sets just like could shut down a lot of game plans. I think 12 is where the board actually starts to get a little bit like hit or miss at that position, because like there's some mods that I think are a little bit high valued, like Rotom Heat and Iron Boulder in this tier. But then you have a mod like Armor Rouge where it like that's like a draft player's like best dream of a mod. Like you have two completely viable sets: utility and wide guard, speed control and trick room, uh, setup sets with like Meteor Beam, and there's like a lot of things that are hidden within those sets that might undervalue that mon at 12, where it's like that could be a steal for someone's board. Um, you know, I think everything after that is like pretty standard. Everyone's just trying to fill their teams at that point.
Yeah, it's just like
But
roll compression at that point.
yeah, Metagross is the highest undrafted. It doesn't really strike me because it's had a major fall off in this gen, but I think people are underestimating or forgetting about like how strong some of those draft like policy sets can be, and that's where like Metagross's niche is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And like the occasional Terra normal explosion, but power creep has just gotten so good, so like so tremendous in Gen 9 that like a mon like that just doesn't have a role anymore in the meta, and you can't run those niche sets anymore because there's just a lot of counters to it now. So it's hard to see my boy up there all alone in 15, but it makes complete sense.
Yeah, that one doesn't surprise me as much as some of the other ones. I think Armarouge was a good call out. I think Clefairy is like just impeccable like utility, and for 13 points, like that support that it offers is just so valuable. With like friend guard, follow me, and like even as like a slow trick room option next to your sweeper with after you like support, that just feels like really good value to me, and kind of surprised that no one took it. But we can
Yeah, I was thinking that as well too. I think Clefairy at 13 is like it's a perfect spot for it because it doesn't really do much outside of its utility. But Friend Guard Follow Me after you could just it could carry like a couple of games.
for
I
sure.
think Hatterene is also a surprise that I've seen in 13, and even Mienshao too because the value is there in Mienshao. Fake out wide guard and like good speed and stab TCs is a really good option to have for a lot of teams. It could like I said before, it can compress roles on the team. It can
Hmm.
fill a lot of roles at once. But I was actually curious about Hatterene though because I seen that both Indeedis were picked and like
Yeah,
so there's multiple side spam teams or even somebody wanting to take it to counter trick room or side spam could be a good option with magic bounce and whatnot.
yeah. There's both Indeedis taken, but Hatterene and Armourage on the board is very, very interesting. We
Uh,
shall. That is a good transition to the draft itself to see, what those teams actually did. We can start from good old left to right, and just go one at a time through these teams. We
let's
have,
let's do it up.
yep, we have. I believe these teams are in order of like which pick they had. I think that's how they did it. So the first team, the Detroit Steel Wings by Coach Seabad, a longtime draft league player, now getting involved in VGC a bit. I've met him a couple times at regionals. Really cool dude. Had the first overall pick and took Fluttermane, which I think is fair. I mean, no one's surprised that Fluttermane went first overall. Me personally, from playing doubles draft league, Fluttermane has always had like mixed success. Like it's never the strongest Pokemon in draft league specifically. I just feel like I don't know. It just never seems to have good performances from my experience. But let's see what he supported it with: the Gothitelle, Illumise, Iron Moth, Raichu, Latios, Hariyama, Galarian Weezing, Greedent, and Krokorok to end the draft with the 2 and 1 point picks. But what are we saying, Alex? What do you think about this draft?
Yeah. So first off, I want to second your comment. I met Seabad as well, and he's really nice to talk to. He really smart dude. It was fun to get to meet him. Um, but so I actually learned something about Fluttermane through Reg C Smogon VGC Draft League, and um, everyone that drafted out of like all the teams and whatnot, there were zero Fluttermane in the top 8 of that tournament, and I was somebody who also drafted Fluttermane in that tournament, and I kind of learned that like for what Fluttermane does in a double setting, it it's good. It's a great breaker. It's good speed control. It has Trick Room if you really want to run Trick Room on it, but it just isn't enough. It doesn't provide enough. It's not a true number one pick. I think there are like mons that can output like less offense but still do more. Whereas like Fluttermane, like it has Okos threatening it across the board on like a lot of occasions. With Terra being a thing, you just run a random Terra and
they
it's
are
that's that.
they are playing in a format where the Terras are you can Terra every Pokemon. Like every Pokemon has Terra Freedom, but they are
It's be
visible
yeah.
on like as soon as you enter the showdown game, or I guess they're on cart, they'll play and then send the Terras to their opponent.
It's open. It's
So
open Terra.
yes, it is open Terra.
Oh,
So
okay. That's fair. I think that's where Fluttermane's going to lose a lot of its matchups because of counter Terra. I think Ilamise is a cool pick. It definitely, like I said, it's like the Scream Tail role for like the same value, and Prankster Tailwind is good within itself. I think what this team kind of lacks is it kind of lacks offense and defense looking at it because like right off the rip on his board, I see Flutter, Moth, and Hariyama being his strongest offense, and like all three have like they have weaknesses in their game. Like I think it's not a bad draft, but I definitely don't think it's the strongest. And like a mon like Gothitelle too is that you could take Gotharita for like less value, and Eviolite like makes it kind of better. So I think there's overvalued picks on this board. I think he can get value in different spots that could like patch up some matchups for his team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I don't think I was like looking at a brief view of all the teams. It's that I don't think it's gonna be a last place team. I think a player like him is gonna be able to find that niche and pilot this. So like I'm really interested to see what he does with it. You know, there is offense if you could set it up right. I think one thing I just don't like is no redirection on this team. No redirection makes this a little hard for him because now him trying to like get that offense out of his Pokemon is a lot harder than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I think Fluttermane's definitely a Pokemon that can benefit from that will really benefit from redirection. I mean, it has good special bulk, but outside of that, like its HP and defense stat are really lacking, and I feel like that is a weakness of it in Draft League a bit. It's not a Pokemon that really wants to like hold the Focus Sash, and if you're investing in its bulk, then it's not doing the most damage it can and stuff like that. I think the Gothitelle pick, I think I agree with the Gotharita shout. Um, but the perish mode on this team is kind of cool and can catch people like by surprise some weeks maybe if they're not like fully prepared for it. If like I'm looking at the team next to it and that team has no ghost types, so it's like that could be a really cool week to like run perish potentially that week with Flutter and Goth and maybe make run your Pokemon as bulky as possible that week. But um,
yeah, no Urshifu on that team either, so Perish mode looks really good.
yeah, but like I think Weezing's always a cool pick to shut down abilities. I think is so important. He just has to like run it with the right stuff and catch people off guard that week. Um, the Raichu, like some of the picks just like don't I don't see the synergy. I guess is like I don't know what Raichu offers this team. Like Gothitelle already has Fake Out. There isn't a really large electric weakness at all. Like not a single Pokemon is weak to electric. So it's just like an
He's got
interesting.
triple fake out, and I think the pick of Krokorok might come to punish him because I think he was looking for some form of damage mitigation against his opponent, and like intimidate Krokorok's not going to be. You're not
Yeah.
bringing this every week. Like if you're trying to save your team from like from physical attack, then it like Krokorok's just not a good bring.
Yeah.
Um, he's gonna have to rely a lot, I think, on his type matchups because like Galar, Weezing, Latios, obviously, when it comes to Levitate, can be really annoying for some teams with the right Terra. Like, Moth has good typing, obviously, just not against ground types. And I guess Flutter's typing is still good defensively. It's not great, but it's just because its HP and defense really make that defensive typing not as great as what it seems. I think there's, like, it has those cool typings. It has triple fake out. So like if you do really need redirection if you're
Yeah, that's
faking out pivoting.
that is fair.
I kind of see the vision now looking a little bit more at it. Like Perish Song, triple fake out, awkward mons to hit, you know. I guess Raichu, you have the lightning rod, you could what's its other it's Volt Absorb, I think.
Uh,
I'm trying to
honestly,
remember this
I
right now.
I only see it as lightning rod
A
mod. I
lightning
honestly
rod mon.
forget. Yeah.
So yeah, it has static. That's its other
Oh,
ability. I guess
okay.
that could be cool some weeks.
Yeah.
Hariyama has some cool draft sets. You know, maybe like, all right. The one thing I do have to complain about is for his slow mode. He doesn't have a real trick room setter. Like I
Uh-huh.
guess Gothitelle. I guess
Oh yeah,
it is
Gothitelle. Yeah,
Gothitelle,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah. But all right, so it kind of works. I like a redirect. A redirector might make this team like that much better. That's the conclusion I think I've come to.
Yeah.
It's not a bad team. The redirector definitely carries it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of redirection, this team next to us has I can see double redirection off the wrap with Ogerpon and Magmar. The lethal combination of Chempao Dragonite, Azumarill even working really well with that. Priority plus Chempao is so good. Ogerpon,
Intimidate.
yeah. Intimidate for Scrafty. Ogerpon has Defiant, so like Intimidate is really scary to bring into things like Chen Pao, Azumarill. I mean, Dragonite can run multi-scale if Dragonite can run multi-scale every week if they don't have Intimidate. So I think the physical value on this team is like so good. Definitely lacking in the special damage department, but then you draft a Thundurus that has 145 special attack to pair with this team, and I think the raw damage on this team is like super scary. Like just to compare it back to Seabad's team, like this team off like just on paper, the raw damage like is terrifying compared to
of
Seabad's
course.
team. Now that's not
You know,
always like the greatest thing in the world. Like a team like this, like you get a turn wrong, you don't call a Terra, like you can be like severely punished quickly. But I think the raw like strength in this team is really really scary.
So one thing I noticed is that I said how like Hatterene, we said how Hatterene and Armarouge were like good counters to those side spam teams that were running out there, and like could be like good forms of speed control and whatnot. But like off the rip, I'm seeing a Galar Weezing and a Delphox already as counters, so I kind of see why like now this is a good low budget counter. You have Chien-Pao with Ice Spinner, so terrain battles like not going to be of concern in a lot of weeks. Um, Electric terrain's not real in this gen because Miraidon's not in it, so like it doesn't benefit anybody. But you know, I think just the redirection and the raw power, like you said, it's really strong on this team, and not to mention the threat of like Azu alone having a really good typing like next to redirection, and then there's that intimidate fake out when it comes to it as well.
Yeah,
A Volt Absorb Thundy that can redirect for I guess just Azu and Skarmory, but you know Thundy it outputs a lot of raw damage and it's really good typing, so I think that's a nice value. 14 seems like it's a little high for it. I'm gonna look up what kind of other utility it has on top of it, but you know I think Owen kind of went in there with a plan and he like overperformed with that plan. It's a really sound team.
yeah. Completely forgot to mention. This is the Golden State Galleys, coached by Owen OG Albina. Very good singles player. And I think he drafted really well. I think he knew what he wanted. I think he was always getting Chen Pao or Flutter Mane. I personally like Chen Pao better than Flutter Mane, so I think he made out there. And to land Dragonite on the way back is just like so big. I think Dragonite's the most
Oh,
important Pokemon on this team outside of Chen Pao, and I think the way you utilize it with different sets, I think Dragonite has so much in its kit and just got like such a benefit from Terra that it's one of the most dominant. It's arguably the most dominant pseudo I think of like this generation. Well, in Gen 9, so I think utilizing Dragonite's full kit will beat this like team's like way to success in my opinion.
yeah, I'm gonna end it with one note. Speaking of Smogon draft, the second Smogon draft I drafted Qian Pao D Knight in a Reg F format, and alright, so I didn't run any other set on D Knight other than Choice Band, but the weeks I ran Choice, like, I, I, I did pretty okay into the tournament because, like, you could get there's a lot of teams that just, like, do not account for E-Speed sort of ruin damage, and, you know, it, you'll kind of figure out your holes in your team quick when you start to learn how fast that like a mode like that could snowball into your team.
For
Um,
sure. For
so
sure. I think.
I,
Oh,
I
you
think
have
the
more?
next team is the ice team. So
Oh,
speaking of snowballing,
yeah. Speaking of
yeah,
snowballing, the ice team. I mean, screens can go on any team, and I think Alolan Ninetales is a fantastic screen setter. Um, this team has a lot of bulky pieces, so this team with screens looks really annoying. And just the one mon that benefits, I guess, defensively and offensively in Glaceon, which I think is really good value for three.
oh, 3 point Glaceon is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I think, uh, like if you see a matchup that just has like a very bad ice type weakness, like you just bring Alolan Ninetales Glaceon and make them play defensively. But
mm,
they went with the Raging Bolt. The what is this team called? The
Glaze,
Liu
are
Harbor Glaze Lilligants. That is a reference that I don't know, but shout out them.
coached by Olivia.
Yeah.
Yep.
With the Raging Bolt third overall, I think that's such a good pick. I think this Pokemon is broken. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed it to give it this this kit that it has, and I think it was a really good first overall pick, honestly, alongside the rest of the team.
All right, so I probably say this erratically to like my friends in the local scene. I'm a sucker for Bolt Beam, and it really doesn't get much better than this with this team. I think the first 5 picks on this team are phenomenal picks with coverage. You have so many different like modes of hitting, like of making matchups awkward. You know, Old Canyon seems like a crazy second pick on the wheel.
Yeah,
So like water
I feel
absorb.
like we don't know what it does just because we haven't seen it in VGC, and it for it to be 19 points is really crazy to me. But I'm excited to see it perform. I don't know what to expect from it, honestly. Obviously, its typing is super unique, and I mean it's a mythical Pokemon. It's gonna have a good base stat total, good like attacking options. I just intriguing to see what they do with it.
Yeah, so I think Olivia getting Ninetales in the third also is really elite pick. You know, the D9 into Ninetales pick or just back to back. It's looking like this third round's really strong right now because like Ninetales is like the fastest ice type coverage in this meta, and ice as a typing, like you're providing screens on this team, but ice as a typing is so strong in a meta like this where like dragon and ground could overrun like a lot of teams. Um, and having that fairy typing and fast encore icy wind, it provides so much value in the position that Olivia got it in. And getting Garchomp at fourth on the comeback, it might even be crazier because like that, it's just a generational good mon. Like it's always how Garchomp has been. Torrance T seems a little off meta, but Torrance T is also 121 speed, and like the prankster mons don't really threaten with speed control as much. So like I think Torrance T is a really good pick for how strong and fast it is. Conk gives you Wide Guard in a Trick Room mode.
And
Tank Windbreaker Tank.
I love Tinkaton. It is so good value
Uh
at
huh.
11. I think that Mon's Toolkit is like a perfect support Pokemon. Um,
Yeah,
and just the typing and value it provides for 11 points, I think is a steal.
I think Olivia cooked. I could definitely say that. I think Eviolite Stantler will come to more matches than Eviolite Krokorok will. Like I'm not saying it like to just see bad. It's just Stantler might be a better mon like
For
when it
sure.
comes down to it. So definitely a really interesting team. I think I like it a little bit better than Owens just because like uh, his top 5 picks knock it out of the park, but like these top 5 picks really knock it out of the park. You really can't get much better with offensive coverage
I like the mix of
when it comes.
defense with offense on this team. Like it has screens, but like don't sleep on a Ninetales like good damage output and things like Bolt, Volcanion, Garchomp, Torn. Like these Pokemon are offensive and defensive at the same time, and I think they all support each other really well. So this team looks
Yep.
really dangerous so far. Um,
Oh, for real, it's gonna be interesting to see. I think Olivia's a singles player mostly, if I'm not mistaken. So, would like to see how they do.
yeah, for sure. Speaking of singles players, we move on to the Mediterranean Mimikyus and Coach Viz. Talk about value at the bottom picks. We got the 1 point coughing, which I think is really cool. I think that neutralizing gas for 1 point paired with Regigigas, like for 8 points, that's a mode that you can just bring one like I don't want to say every week, but you could just bring this mode every week and threaten it as a lead pairing and scare people. And like this mode is worth prepping for 8 points. Like the value here is just so good. And grab Yanmega at 4. We saw in the circuit this year in Regulation H how it's a valuable tailwind setter and don't sleep on its damage either. So these bottom picks I think are very valuable, and that is not even going on about the top picks yet, which are the 20 point Urshifu Single Strike, Iron Crown, Dragapult, Entei, Araquanid, Prankster with Meowstic. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of the synergies here. It looks like just pure base stat total and good Pokemon. I'm interested to see how they will work together. Like Crown has like no support. I mean, you drafted Crown and Meowstic Male before together and made it work, but just like not like
Mhm.
clear synergies is what I'll say. But like with good
Yeah,
Pokemon like this, it's like
Uh,
fine.
I think yeah, the first thing I noticed is the same as Seabed. There's no redirection on this team. The redirection just comes from the threats on this team. It's you don't want the threat of a choice banded Wicked Blow, like Dark Terror Wicked Blow. You don't want the threat of Dragapult clicking Dragon Darts. You don't want the threat of Entei clicking Sacred Fire and burning your physical mon, and then mitigating.
You're
So that's where I think it's a little bit better without the redirection. It's because it has more threats. It has more immediate threats.
mhm.
Um,
You're playing the guessing
I
game of which Mon has the choice band between Dragapult, Entei, and Urshifu each week.
oh yeah, facts. Yamega and coughing, like you said, I, between Gigas, Yamega, coughing. Actually, I think those bottom three picks are stellar, and I think 1 through 5 are good too. Araquanid is really good value. A lot of people kind of look at that mon and might think it's really like it's nothing special, but it actually provides some good utility between wide guard, water bubble, like having like maybe weeks where you could run sticky webs, like if you don't want to bring Tailwind for your team. Like it's just like there's certain sets that can throw off the matchup. And Meowstic is great for the Iron Crown mode, because you have manual terrain. Obviously,
You have pranks,
that's
yeah,
a
Prankster
mode.
Psychic Terrain is really cool.
It's a mode that I relied on and played. You have screens out of me. It has a lot of utility, but like it just like doesn't stay alive. But like that's not the knock on it. It's just the utility provides is really good.
I I
Floor
think
just I'm a little questionable on, but that's not the end of the world.
I
I think
mean you needed
one.
a budget fairy type. I mean look look no further than Florges, like 7 points for that Spadef, and just you click Moonblast and you're that's kind of all this mod needs to do. It's a bulky switch
Oh,
in, and this team
yeah.
along with Iron Crown, like with your like main two like damage options are Urshifu and Dragapult. Like you need things to resist fairy on this team, or just like take special fairy hits and Florges. So like the Crown Entei Florges picks make a lot of sense to me.
For certain. I think one thing that could throw this team off a little bit is if you were to like because you don't have that redirection. If you were to try to play the psychic terrain mode on this team, it's a little awkward because of how much priority and like how so much strong priority that this team like the top few picks could provide. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's the end of the world. I think all in all, it's a really well put together team. You have that steel dragon fairy core that like is always threatening and strong in any draft league team for that matter. And you know, I think just there's a lot of really strong redirection by threat pieces. So like it's gonna this team is gonna come down to like picking the damage dealer right, and like playing against Viz turn by turn, like and trying not to lose at the end of the game, like trying not to lose the end game by calling like to protect the damage rolls. So it's gonna be a really mind game play style playing into Viz for
Yeah,
certain. I'm interested.
for sure.
Mhm.
We can move straight over to Necra and the Shout casting Sylveon's a wonderful team name for her.
Yes,
Uh, uh,
yes,
shout,
elite.
shout out
Let's go,
Necra,
Necro.
VGC caster. Um,
Yeah, we got our first. I think we got our first action like from the start VGC player too that
for,
we get to discuss on. So this is gonna be fun.
yeah, Necra is an OG in the VGC scene, now one of the most decorated commentators, and has turned draft league coach, and I'm excited to see how they do. The Ogerpon Cornerstone with the first overall pick, I think, is interesting. A Pokemon that in Regulation F, it saw some play. I think it's really picked up more in the higher power formats because of its offensive typing into some of them, and Sturdy being just a very good value ability on this mon. Not a Pokemon that likes to Terra a lot. I think it likes to keep it sturdy, and the defense boost and additional rock stab aren't always the most important. But
Hmm.
another team, I think there's a theme. It's going no redirection, redirection, no redirection, and now we're back to Ogerpon Volcarona double redirection. Uh,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
I love Volcarona in draft. I think it has I mean, obviously it has a glaring weakness, but with like screens and redirection and Terra, you get Volcarona set up, and it's really really good. Suicune, I think, is pretty cool value at 13. It's pretty just support water type, uh, but don't sleep on its damage. Definitely more of a singles mon threat with some of the nasty sets that Suicune likes to run, but um, and then I guess the other thing I'm interested to see is Zarude at 14 points. I'm intrigued to see what that mon does in a doubles format. Not, I feel like we haven't seen it like at all outside of some singles formats. So
Zarude is a base 6 pick. I really like that pick a lot because 105 is a key speed in a meta like this. You're going to actually have a lot of advantages with that speed. You know, the Urshifu matchup becomes that much easier because you have, Zarude has fighting moves, which you could tear into a fighting to get those stabs, and even grass for like water fu and stuff. It's definitely got an interesting niche. It's not a big fan of Instant, but there's a chance he might not even play Instant in the season. So,
very true.
um, here's my first thing. If I'm playing Necra, and if anyone in the league is listening, I'm probably bringing Haze that week. That's my first word of advice. Because
A lot of
between
setup on this
Volcarona,
team.
Ikun, Hisui, and Gudra, yeah, the setup is crazy on this team, especially with screens. Um, I think the angle that Necro was like going for is just having a team that's really hard to break, and like then you have the fast Palmont who can like bring one of those mods that like that sat against your team and broke it down casually, and then a fast mod like Palmont comes in and can either finish you off or bring that mod back to life. So I think there's definitely a lot of interesting going pieces. Um, I love the Firewater Grass Core between Volcarona, Suicune, and Zarude. I think that's
And
a really
Ogerpon,
cool.
the first three picks.
Oh, you have Ogerpon too. I guess yeah. I mean, realistically, like Slitherwing is it becomes a fire type eventually. Double. All right, Slitherwing and
uh,
Volcarona's base.
so
I'll say that too. But
yeah, I think Slitherwing is. First of all, I think that was maybe a snipe. I feel like Sierra definitely wanted that Pokemon and didn't get it. But,
oh wait,
I mean, if it was picked till the end, maybe not. But I guess I'll
no
say
no
I'm
no. See,
surprised that Sierra didn't get
I
it.
think it passed Sierra. Sierra let it pass her.
Yeah, which is interesting. But for 7 points, I mean,
Hmm.
you can't go wrong with Slithering. That offense is very, very good. Um,
No, 100%. All
I,
right. So right now, I don't think Necra's team is the strongest. There's missing pieces on the team. Like a wide guard user could really benefit this team. I don't know if Slitherwing learns
I
wide
don't,
guard.
I
Let
don't,
me
I
let
don't,
me.
I don't think it does. I will. Yeah, some of the speed control is a little. It's not like in your face speed control. Like there's Volcarona and Suicune that get Tailwind, and
Yeah,
like
yep.
Klefki has like T Wave. So this team's gonna rely a lot on its bulk and screens and stuff. I think with like minimal speed control in moments. So that is like one thing that's alarming. I think hyper offense might give this team a small problem if the type matchups are not in Neckar's favor. But I think
I mean,
overall it's
you
still
have
really good.
there is the underrated utility. I guess I'll finish on that note between Klefki having T Wave and Trick Room, and Suicune having Tailwind, Volcarona having Tailwind. It's definitely underrated utility, but when it comes to the priority spread move and spam and like the fact that a lot of people in draft like to cover for screens with whether it be brick break or defog or something like that is going to be interesting to play into a lot of the season, especially like I said before with Hayes, because you'd assume on a type of team like this there's always going to be one setup mon. You don't know who it's going to be, but someone wants to set up in your face that you're weak against.
For,
So
for
you
sure.
know honestly, it seems like she's going to be playing a lot of the most counter matchups, and I'm interested to see how she performs against them. I think she's got it in her to pop off and have a really good season with this team. So I'm wishing her the best.
Indeed. And let's
Hmm.
move on to the Baton Rouge Butterfreeze. That's a plus.
Yes,
That's a plus 1.
I don't see a
VGC.
Trico and a D Knight on this team.
VGC content creator, known for his crazy teams and crazy team building, and crazy
Mhm.
strategies. I feel like Draft League was meant for him. I'm excited to
Oh
see
my God, Yeah, actually, I love this team. I'm looking at this team and I'm cheesing looking at it. This isn't that's a team. He's gonna cook with this.
I
I
think
love it.
Whimsicott is the most broken Pokemon in Draft League. The support that it offers is unmatched, and to have it
Hmm.
in like a fairy dragon steel core of Whimsicott, Regidrago, and Jirachi sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Paired with just a
One
lot
knock
of.
I think is oh, sorry,
No,
my
you're
bad.
good.
One knock I think is Whimsicott. You could argue might have been the better grass type to take in as the first grass type of the draft because of how much utility it offers. Not saying that Cornerstone is bad, but like Whimsicott's just that good. There's so much it provides, like off the rip. But I'm sorry, continue.
I think the beat up strategies with Wims and Weavile with Terrakion will catch people off guard. I think Electivire is 8 point follow me redirection. I think people forget that Electivire is redirection.
Is a
Uh,
new follow me mon,
yeah,
yeah.
literally. I mean, it can't hold the EVLA, but it's still got decent natural bulk and speed and
Hmm.
support. So I think that's a really cool pick at 8. The War Turtle, gotta grab Fake Out and with that one tier. War Turtle's an interesting pick with 1 point. And
Hmm.
I've never been a big fan of Gliscor, but it's actually had like some like decent like I'll say limited success recently in like the regulation age lower power format. So we'll see how it translates to this. But and I guess the one thing I skipped over was Hisuian Zoroark. That mon just causing mental gymnastics on every turn with this guy's team will be super fun to see.
Um, yeah, first thing I'm gonna look at every lead is the mon that's beating up really a beat up mon, or is the mon that's getting beat up really the beat up mon? Like, there's gonna be a lot of mon games to play into this team, but I think one thing that that's covered really well was drafting that elite Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Whimsicott Drago Jirachi is so strong. They have a lot of good switches into each other. He opted into that beat up mode. Double fake out between Weavile and Wartortle. Um, having beat up Justify for Terrakion into that mode. Electivire, like you said, fun fact, I actually learned this the other day. Motor Drive does not redirect electric moves. So you actually have to follow me when an electric Pokemon is on the field. But still good utility. Shandy, really good mon because of the utility it can provide, especially having that follow me and double fake out mode with it. Fly score is solid for 7 points. Toxic Orb could be strong behind like a Whimsicott Light Screen some weeks, or even Hyper Cutter, like some kind of Scarf or Band set. Like it's a lot of good pieces, but right now I'm gonna call this section of the video the wide guard check, and uh, I hate to say it, but that's a +1 is also failing the wide guard check.
Terrakion doesn't
Um,
get it. That's not. I'm actually not sure.
uh,
That's the only one I could see having it.
uh, nope, it does not get it.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, so I don't think every team needs to rely on it, but in a spread damage meta, which I would consider F. I think there's a lot of strong spread Pokemon in
for
this
sure.
format. It definitely at least one solid piece to throw on to like every team,
For
even if
sure.
you don't bring it every week. Just the threat of having it causes a lot of matchups to go astray. But overall, I think really good team. His like no grass type is going to be really hard for
Oh,
him. I
whims, whims,
think.
whims, whims.
Oh, yeah, duh. All right. Okay, so no, I think he's okay. I was gonna say Amoonguss, like maybe like with Terra can give this matchup like a little bit of hell,
Oh,
but
it still
I
can
think
for sure.
yeah. I definitely think overall, really cool team. Definitely.
I think we've established that I think so far Olivia's team is the best. Would you put this over Olivia's or no?
That's very hard for me to say. I mean, a fire, water, grass. One of your mons covering your fire, water, grass car, and Trevenant being the grass core is kind of base. And like I guess this you could argue the same thing with Dragon Steel Fairy, even though there's two fairies, which is really nice. I think Olivia has a more rounded team, whereas That's has more modes that he could play into in his team. So right now, I'd probably rank them about the same overall. And that's a being a VGC player. it's going to be a big advantage for him with a team like this. You know, maybe they don't catch on to the strategies that he's cooking, and he's
Yeah, for
been
sure.
known to cook. So,
For sure. Um,
mhm.
let's move. Excuse me. Let's move on to the Philadelphia Stunkies, coached by Mr. Shuckle King himself. We are playing in the Shuckle Premier League. Shout out to Shuckle. Um, he's got
The
the
king.
Urshifu Rapid Strike, Lando T, Talonflame, Sinistra, Zapdos, Orthworm, Frostmoth, Alolan Persian, Colossal, Riolu. Overall, I think this team is really like I would call it solid. Urshifu Rapid Strike to get with this pick, the seventh maybe. Are we on the 17th? Yeah, seventh pick is some would say a steal. This Pokemon has been terrorizing VGC. Um, pair it with Intimidate Lando, Tailwind, Talonflame, Redirection, Grass typing with Sinistra. Really good. A lot of flying types, but really, I guess really good synergy with like Landorus, like spamming Earthquake, even like the Orthworm. Uh, Frostmoth passes the wide guard check.
Yeah,
We got
it's true.
Fake Out, good support, really good support with Persian. I think that's really good value at 10 points. And I think Colossal's interesting. I mean, we have like Aqua Jet and stuff like that on the team, so cool to see if Colossal comes any week. And Riolu with Prankster coaching and weather support at 2 points is I think really good value as well.
Uh, yeah, um I like Shuckle's first few picks. I think it gets a little wonky around the midway point, but I think capping it off with Riolu like kind of boosted the strength of his team as well. First off, I hope I don't see a video where he aqua jets into his Colossal to activate the policy because that Colossal's not living.
Well,
Maybe if you Terra,
you got a
do.
Terra, yeah, and you run
You
like
gotta Terra to get out. You gotta get out of one of your weaknesses. But like,
you could even like
um,
Terra Grass Colossal and uh like Ember with Talonflame and like proc it that way and stuff like that. So there's like some
um,
there's some shenanigans.
yeah, I think Shed Tail's really cool for this team because one thing I've noticed from playing draft is that Earthworm is like typically a hard mon for some teams to take down. It takes advantage of its steel typing and its 140 base defense. Um, I mean, you've seen the Earthworm in action before. It can do a lot of fun things for any team. You know, you have iron defense out of it. You could even like set rocks. You know, you look at a teams like Olivia where there's the potential of bringing a fire, two ice types, and a flying type, and Earthworm could just sit on the field, set rocks. You know, it could shed tail, it could iron defense. I'm talking a lot about this mon when I shouldn't be. I'll start talking about better mons, but Sinistra is really cool. It benefits like every mod on this team. You have a redirection. I think the first four picks provide like great utility, and I would argue Zapdos, but I just don't feel that way about it in this meta. I think it's kind of gotten power crept at this point, at this stage in Reg F, and
Yeah,
especially with mythicals.
Zapdos is probably my least favorite pick on the team.
It's weird with Riolu. Like you can't. It's not a coaching mon. I definitely think it's a mon that like for 16 points, that's really high valued. It could probably get swapped for
Dude, where's
maybe something that's not Metagross, but
how much was your how much was your bird kilowatt roll?
Kilo is 10.
Ten
I think Kilo is
points.
way better at 10 than Zapdos is at 16. I
Yeah,
hate to say it. Um, Frostmoth behind Shed Tail can be cool, and Ice Scales is a really cool ability. It also has Shield Dust too, so like you know you have two different ways you can play with Frostmoth on off weeks. I'm excited to see how he does with this team, but you know, I think a singles player using a team like this, he's got a lot of strong pieces. It should definitely transition easier into gameplay. But you know, watching him pilot this, I think will be the or not watching him specifically pilot this, but like you know, does he have the doubles mentality to pilot this team? Um, you know, that involves a lot of rotating pieces. You're going to be pivoting a lot with a team like this. You're going to have to make calls, you're gonna have to. It, I th- I'd like to see how he does, but right now, I'm an avid fan of the team. I just need to see how it translates into the draft league itself and the matchups.
very fair assessment.
Hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
move on to Kyle A, the coach of the Miami Dolphins, the only team
Yes.
to have never lost. I'm pretty sure.
Insinamungus, everyone's favorite Reg F Mons in
Yeah,
the first 2 picks.
Insinamungus Prim is a demon firewater grass core. Very slow, but
Yeah.
the pivoting
I
and
mean, just
utility is like just so good. And then like you could pair like Driftblim, Superior, Valiant, and Hydreigon as late picks were I think really valuable. I think Valiant is a sleeper 12. Obviously, it's like
oh, those are base last picks. Those are two like I mean they save their points obviously, but those
mhm.
like there's a lot of good value for the points that they have, and those are two demon last picks. Those are crazy last picks.
I think Valiant at 12 points is kind of a steal when like obviously in VGC we don't see it all the time, but that's because like Flutter Main exists. So when only one team can have a Flutter Main, like Valiant is so good value for 12 points. Like such a strong mon.
Yeah,
Um,
and he passes wide guard check with Valiant nonetheless.
dude, Valiant offers so many good
So
support
much more
options.
than it's great. A spot threat is a little iffy, but like between a Mungus redirection, instant fake out, you could start to take off a combine. I think I looked at his team before, and I think his team counters like terrain users more than like because he doesn't have an actual terrain user, but he has like mods that benefit in the terrain. You know, I mean, Valiant's gonna run booster more or less every time, but like Driftblim and a spot throw, like a spot throw, I only add to that list because it could benefit it between like sucker punch and stuff running around, and like it's physical set nonetheless. Um, but I think not having terrain is a little iffy, and I think one thing that he also doesn't have that I think would shore up this team defensively a lot more is a steel type. That's like the one thing that kind of is um, a glaring weakness of his team. But other than that, I think the value's there. I think every pick that he made was a good pick, and you like it's just a sound team. It's very solid into what you're going to be versing or going against.
yeah, this team will have like defensive like matchups into every team it plays. It's just gonna be about how well can Kyle position the pieces into picking up knockouts. I think is will be this team's strongest uh like hurdle. Like we see
Yeah.
the support that it offers and the bulk it has and the type synergy. It's just where is the big damage threats coming from, and I think Kyle will be able to figure it out for the most part. I trust his team building and the crazy sets. I'm going to talk about that's a plus one with crazy sets from the VGC side of things. I think from the single side of things, Kyle will definitely like that sort of team building will carry over into this format as well from Kyle.
Yeah, I'm excited for Kyle. I think this is a really cool team. This is a really fun team to use in a reg F meta like this. Hydreigon is a really flexible draft mod. I say that's probably going to be the best last pick because that probably is going to be the best last pick in this draft because it provides so much utility. There's a lot of different sets it could run, especially in like an open meta like this. Valiant's going to be really cool. There's a lot of different things it could run because the speed isn't the same as a restricted meta with those legendaries that are running around at 135 and 150 and 140 whatever. So, booster's not always an option. You could run something fun like a band or specs even or lorb and really benefit the damage as that last pick. Um yeah, honestly, nothing much. I think everything kind of really covers its weakness really well. I maybe say steel is just because it's really good defensive and it could help the defensive pivoting a lot on this team. But like all in all, I think Kyle's got something like comfortable to his play level in VGC that is gonna always be solid for him wherever he needs it.
For sure. Um, Alex, I'm gonna let you talk about this. I know you were just talking, but this next team looks like something you would very much enjoy. I want to give you the
All right,
floor first.
yeah. All right. I would use a team like this in VGC. I don't think I would draft a team like
Ooh,
this.
okay.
That's my hot take. But I will say, Firewater Grass, it doesn't get much better than Ogre Keldeo. That is a very strong pairing. You know, you have different beat up modes that you can run. I mean, Keldeo is a special attacker, so I guess beat up's not really like optimal. But like, Ogerpon Horus Flame is such a strong Reg F mon. It provides so much. Its typing is elite. It has Follow Me, Spiky Shield, Encore, Taunt. Like, there's a lot of things it could do. I think Mence is a really good Intimidator, very underrated Intimidator. I I feel the same way about Volbeat that I do Illumise. They're definitely annoying to go against, but if you have the right pieces, they're not the biggest threat.
It's interesting on this
T-Tar
team as
X,
well because it's like you have Volbeat, Ment, and Kilowattrel, which are all like fast tailwind setters. I mean, obviously Volbeat's prankster, but like this team has 3 modes of setting up tailwind, which is really interesting.
no, for certain, and I don't think T-Tar Exca is really bad. We were both talking about how we both feel about weather and like how there's too much counterintuitive gameplay into it in the draft setting. So it's gonna be definitely hard to get this mode off. But if the stand is up and these two are in and there's no way to change it, Exca is gonna output a lot of damage. T-Tar is gonna be hard to take down. You can intimidate pivot with Mens. In a meta like this too. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Men's has baton pass, so like it seems like an off single set, but it gives it away. Like it can like get out, like intimidate pivot at like a fast speed. It can run special. It can run physical. Artie is interesting. I played a Gardevoir once and it wasn't very good, so I'm excited to see how or if they can cook with the Gardevoir. Kilo, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna say it's a good mon. I can't talk much more about it because we'll be here for another 2 hours. But it's Cinchino. Uh, it's a fast skill link mon.
Kind
And
of good value for 2 points, low key. Its moveset
no,
and ability
honestly,
is
wait,
like
wait,
really,
wait.
its speed tier is like really valuable.
No, 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 wait. Really, really great value, and because of the addition of Tidy Up, like 115 Technician loaded dice Cinchino, like you could actually get like a lot of kills for a team like this. I think it's a really good 2 point value. I think the team is cool, but I I think the team is like it's missing a glue between it. All right, so another draft Smogon story. I had a Gen 8 team with uh 3 of these mons on this team, and singles is a lot different than doubles. But like from using Keldeo, Mence, and Gardevoir before, I there's pieces that are missing. Like this team lacks hard pivot. It's Kilowattrel versus the world when it comes to hard pivoting. So you're gonna have to play defensively a lot on the back foot. You know, Keldeo is really strong and it's a great special attacker, but its coverage is lacking. It doesn't have much outside of its water and fighting. Like Volbeat could set up the rain for it. That's cool and all. And fighting is arguably like a top 3 offensive typing in Reg F. But
Yeah, I think special fighting damage is really valuable. So I think what it offers
oh yeah,
there is like fighting types is obviously a very physical type, very susceptible to intimidate and other things. So I think special fighting is like really valuable, and I think the
what does Steve do again? Damages target based on defense, not SPDF. That could actually be kind of bad for Keldeo. I think
I
there's a
mean
lot more mons that
I'd
are
assume it gets
defense.
Aura Sphere and stuff too. So it's like
This is true. You're right. You're right.
I think
Yeah,
it
focus
still
blast
offers like
poaching.
yeah, I think its value is still going to be there, and it has tailwind support, intimidate support, it has redirection support, and I think the sand mode, like, if you bring your like weather counter, scared of T-Tar Excadrill in the lead, and then the T-Tar Excadrill are in the back, like something like that. Like I just think it's a really good
Yeah.
sweeping core to end the game. T-Tar
Okay.
does T-Tar is a bit of a like Terra Hog, I feel like, in VGC. Its typing is definitely its worst part about it, but I think it still is like a really good valuable core that I think
Um.
they spent their points really well. Like they really dabbled in the 14 to like 12 tier, and I think they got really good value for their picks there.
Yeah. One thing I noticed about this team, I guess two things is there is not a single mon that's slower than base 80. Unless I mistaken Volt. Nope. There's not a single mon slower than base 80. So Trick Room.
Yeah,
is
I mean
gonna be
that's what Gardevoir is here
pretty
for,
hard.
right? I mean that's what Trick Room in Prison is for. I mean
I,
it's
I
not
guess
the
so.
it's not
Yeah.
the safest answer every week. I mean taunt. I'm sure some of these mons get taunt. I know T-Tar gets taunt. I think Ogerpon gets taunt. So I think things like that will have to come certain weeks. And yeah, I mean I don't blame anyone for patching Trick Room with just like a Trick Room in Prison mon and Gardevoir. Also giving this team a fairy type. I think I agree with you, but I do they have some counterplay at least.
Okay. That's like my one complaint is that Trick Room could be really hard. I lied. T-Tar is slower. T-Tar
Oh
61.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
literally
yeah,
dumb.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the other thing that I just had in my mind is that I forgot about. I was looking at Keldio's moveset, and it does have coaching. There's a lot of good coaching mods on this team. I think, coaching into Cinccino, T-Tar, Exca, Ment, or Ogerpon can actually like steamroll a lot of games. So I do think Tone has something that he's cooking. I just don't know if the lack of pivot is my thing and a fail of wide guard check, but I wide guard's like not the worst for this. But
Fails the wide guard
um
check.
yeah, um I think there's a lot of strong pieces. I definitely don't think that this team is bad by any means. It's just gonna be really hard to pilot without like really good defensive mods and really good pivoting.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
Uh,
well, we can move on to the Toronto Maple Muse. Shout out Sierra and the Toronto Maple Muse. I
or
remember watching them in the WBE way back when, and she's back. And I think,
another VGC team
yeah,
or, or player, I should say.
I think her team is disgusting. If I'm gonna be honest, I think Ogre, like Ogerpon Wellspring is such a good mon utility wise, and like offensively and defensively. Chi-Yu is broken. Roaring Moon broken. We learned about how strong Expanding Force Melon is, and have the Gallade as well. I guess I would have liked to see maybe another mon to take advantage of the terrain on this team, but we got Chi-Yu with Lava Plume and Dash Bun, fantastic speed control and Aleki and Roaring Moon alongside Trick Room and like Corviknight with speed control. I mean Don Fan kind of just is like a typing on this team. I feel like you just add like that ground typing, and like a Rock Midnight is maybe the worst value Pokemon in the whole draft, but that thing sucks. But I think the rest of the team is like so disgusting.
Lycanroc Midnight being a 1 point mon says a lot about it. I think 1 point is where it's best at. Uh,
I think it's best
double,
at not being on the draft board, honestly.
yeah, it helps pass wide guard check as does
Oh, the wide
Raid.
guard check, true.
Yeah, it's double wide guard check there. Um, I am very excited to see Lava Plume on this team next to the dog because I think the dog is so good in Reg F. From your draft league, I learned how fast it can kind of steamroll because special mons like there's very few special mons that lack what it takes to be able to hit it, and once it starts getting the defense boost next to Scarf Chi, it's gonna be really hard to take down. I'm talking about Dashbun now, but I'm not even talking about the rest of the team that's even better. So that kind of like gives you an idea of how good I think Sierra's team is. It doesn't really get much better than the top 3 picks. Those are we talked about Fire, Water, Grass. That she got the Fire, Water, Grass like immediately, and Wellspring Chi-Yu and Reg F is just a monstrous uh is just a monstrous core. Roaring Moon with Tailwind Acro, knockoff, booster speed, a meta where you can run choice band some weeks. It's very good utility. And DD male, it's not the same as female. It doesn't have the redirection, but still a really strong E4 spammer. You punish these teams that don't have wide guard. Block priority for your pieces. I I think everything is essentially there. There's really like no complaints I have with this team. It's a very sound team. Um,
Yeah, I think I agree. I love this team. This is a team I
all
think
right,
I
so
would draft for the like this team
there
looks
is
so
one
good.
complaint.
Okay.
There's one complaint I kind of have, and it's I think dragon. I mean, obviously, like I say, dragon types are going to be hard to hit. Like good bulky dragon types are going to be hard to hit for this team. Like you have a lot of neutral coverage, but like Dashbun isn't a mon that like typically runs play rough. It can some weeks if you really need it to, but it's not that strong. And Moon is like rarely rocking dragon coverage, but like I said, this is draft. It can that
Yeah,
week.
for sure.
So yeah, I think that's my like actually like I don't even call it a complaint. It's just having to find something that like balances out how good the team actually is. But it's easily arguably to say that like this might be the best team so far in this top row. I think it could edge out Shuckle and Olivia's team, or not Shuckle, that's as an Olivia's team because it just has all the pieces that it needs.
Yeah.
Double tailwind. Corviknight's so hard. Corviknight's so good in Reg F2 for underrated 10-point pick.
For sure.
I'm excited to see
Yeah.
Sierra cook.
I hope Sierra cooks because this is definitely my favorite team so far.
Yeah.
Without question.
So speaking of cooking, we're looking at cooking on the oven that's like sitting. It's been simmering for a few hours. It's been slowly roasting. I think we're gonna be looking at burnt cooking in the next team, and I hate to say it because
Are we scrolling over to Mr. Pokgame MD? Is that what we're doing?
yeah, if there's by any chance Pokegame checks out this video, which he totally should, and he sees this, you're a singles demon, you're a singles god, and I think you're that guy when it comes to any singles or battle format. This team doesn't cook, sadly, brother. I'm not a fan of this team.
Yeah, I think it's Annihilate, Diancie, Deoxys Speed, Bronzong, Manaphy, Mudsdale, Hydrapple, Sneasel, Furret, Poltergeist. When I look at this team, I don't see any synergies. Maybe I'm trolling. Maybe it's just a lot of mythicals that I don't know about in VGC, but that he has like really good familiarity with playing in singles. But I don't
the synergy
see.
I think I see.
Is there a beat up on here? I mean, Sneasel gets beat up for Annihilate. I don't. There's no like redirection support for Annihilate. I don't think.
There is. No, there is the 3-point and 2-point mod.
Yeah, for it and
say,
yeah.
You know what I think I see is the synergy on this team? Furret, Manaphy, follow me, click the funny button with Manaphy, bring in the Poltergeist, redirect, click the funny button with Manaphy, and then bring in the Hydrapple and click Surf for like different days. So, until the Water Absorb mods start coming into matchups, I think Manaphy.
Let's hope he doesn't play Sierra.
Yeah, arguably Manaphy is going to be a crazy is going to be a crazy mod for him. I think the anti-typing alone definitely puts it in the argument for being a good mythical. Like body press stuff is going to be fun. Diamond Storm being a spread move as well. I think that being a rock spread move can be really cool, but it also hits like rock slide, so have fun. Ape is just Ape's good in no matter whatever generation
Ape is most certainly broken. I think it is a broken draft mon. I think it is a broken Pokemon in draft league, and like being able to defensively Terra for any matchup, like prepping and picking a defensive Terra is so valuable in this mon, and I think it just lacks like the really good support. But I don't put it past AIM to like just pilot it well anyway. I'm wondering who sniped his mouse hold. We see a Rain team later on get the mouse hold. I'm sure he wanted that on the way back. Maybe he should have taken it first, low key, and then gotten Annihilate. But
I think in Reg F, Ape goes even before he gets a pick again. His pick, having a middle pick, is already his biggest weakness of this draft. It's so hard to like for him to try and get the mode that he wanted, because those are like two really good Reg F mons. They just provide so much support and damage combined. Mouse Ape is a guaranteed combo, so him not getting it on the way back is definitely a brutal loss for his team. but I think he made up for it. Deoxys speed is really fast offensive coverage. That should be cool. I don't know how it'll actually do because it's very weak. It's very bad defensively.
It feels like it's gonna have to
Um,
run the sash every week unless you're just like
literally.
gonna go hyper offense with it and like into a good type matchup. But I mean,
Uh-huh.
I don't know what support it offers. I know it's like I know in singles it can set hazards. I don't know what kind of support it offers in doubles, but I'll be intrigued. I'll be
Okay.
definitely intrigued to see what he brings every week because I don't know enough about these mons. I think to see the synergies of this team. I don't know what Bronzong offers this team. I guess Levitate for Dancy is cool, but like Trick Room is
Uh,
good,
I
but
think
like
prankster screens would go a long way on this team. Some type of screen,
yeah,
fast
like a
screens, being able
Morgrim
to get up.
pickup. If someone didn't have
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone got Morgrim, but I can quickly
I don't
check.
think we've seen it yet.
Oh yeah, Morgrim's available for 4 points. That sounds like really good value, honestly.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think I have the same problem that I have with T-Bad's team, where the offense is offensive, and the defense is defensive, and they don't have that. There's not that balance. They're like, having screens can get the value because your defensive mons will be able to set up, and your offensive mons will be able to get like like bulk ups off um or tail glows for that matter, or like even Mudsdale if you're trying for like beat up stuff, like you throw the horse behind screens and with stamina like that, it's gonna be really hard to take down. You throw Diancie behind screens, good luck unless Urshifu Rapid Strike you're playing that week, but that's why we don't bring it that week. Um, I think AIM just needs that sort of connection to bring this team together, and I think that's like a start. Hydrapple, uh, I'm not listening to any of the advocates out there. I don't know what this mon does, and I don't know if it's good. I think if it has rage powder, maybe it's a little bit better, but I don't even think it has
I
that.
don't think it does. I could be really wrong, but I don't think it does.
We are not wrong.
Okay.
No, it's got pollen puff. It'll heal your team. It'll bring it back to life. You won't kill it with regen.
It has like good
Uh
coverage and it can like do damage in Trick
oh
Room if
oh
this team goes
oh
Trick Room, but
wait, you ready for this? Oh, hold up. Okay, this is so stupid, but it might just be stupid enough to work. It's not that stupid. Diamond Storm's better than I thought, accuracy-wise. I was gonna say, like, super sweet syrup next to Diancie so that your Diamond Storms, like, just don't
don't
miss.
miss.
But,
Fair.
yeah, but and then you have Pollen Puff to bring it back to life after you get the defense boost, too. Like, yeah, I think it's cool. I think form of fast or manual screens. Actually, Deoxys speed is probably like his screen setter more weeks than not. But like you have to run a sash on it at that point because it's not living a double up behind whatever screen you get up.
For sure. Yeah.
Uh, all right.
I think the
Uh,
team can
I,
be strong, but
mhm.
and
It's
it
piloted by a great player. It'll
yeah,
definitely
we'll just see
it'll
how Joey
definitely
does with it and how I mean I think he's dabbled very briefly, but I'm excited to see how he does how Joey does in a full VGC committed season with a team like
yeah,
this.
Joey, please prove me wrong. Cook with this. Get the content out there and cooking. I'm so ready.
My dog is barking. If you want to transition to the next.
All right. So, uh, yeah. So we Sun. That's the first word I see when I look at this team. Actually, I really want to break it down into two words: Sun Room, because you have such strong trick room pieces. Not only do you have strong Sun pieces, but you have strong trick room pieces, and I think that's what a benefit for Nexus's team is. Uh, is having the strong form of Trick Room mode, but also having Sun. It's two modes that are really hard to counter for, and having to account for your opponent playing either or is going to be tough to prep into. Hands at the what is this, the 11 pick, or no, this is the 12 pick. Hands at the 12 pick, insane. I arguably think that Hands is a top 5, a top 10 maybe, if not top 5 mon in Reg F. Um, so for that to fall that far to Nexus is really good. Lily Cove as the backup, the next two picks, I mean, really strong. Walking Wake in in this draft setting, that goes so well with the Torkoal Sun. A water type that's able to fire off Hydro Steam in in the weather, like at 1.5 damage is going to be really beneficial for your team, and anyone that tries to play counter weather is still going to get punished because rain like just helps wake out too. Um, a great follow me piece in Clefable, a priority blocker in Bruckdish. Valimar will never let a Mon get out of hand because it's topsy turvy. Like if you really want to break it down, and like contrary can be cool for it too. Misdreavus with Eviolite, I can't speak on much, but I know Kev has
It's
played
just
that
like
before
bulky. It's a ghost type on this
and hard to
team.
hit.
It's like a trick room
It,
setter, will o wisp. Like, I think it. I
it's
can
cool.
see.
I think it's really cool. Yeah,
I think Nexus really like.
they
Again,
cooked.
we don't. You and I aren't. I mean, you ran Torkoal last draft season, but I don't overly like weather in draft. I feel like it's counterable, but the support on this team for Torkoal and like the trick room overall and Sun,
It's
like the
phenomenal.
support for
It's so
trick
good.
room and the support for Sun are just like really really good. Like solid redirection, solid trick room sweepers, great fake out mon, bulky trick room setter in Porygon, annoying piece of shit Lilligant. Excuse my language. And
Uh,
like Charizard as an underrated Sun Sweeper for 6 points is crazy to me, low key.
Yeah, I haven't actually even talked about Porygon. That was the mon I saved for last on this team. I think Nexus got a steal there at 4. Um, there is so much that Porygon can do. Like let alone between trace download and analytic. I mean, first off, its item is never changing, and that's the best part about it because Eviolite is it's just amazing. We've all seen it. Like you're never gonna run Eviolite on Misdreavus unless you're not bringing P2 because P2 is arguably the best Eviolite mon in this meta. But I think that like the moves and support that it can provide on top of what it has is going to be beneficial for Nexus's team. You know, having that trick room mode for hands, and Torkoal, and even Malamar too, who's on the rather slower side, is going to be cool. He has a fast mode. I think my one complaint about this team is that like his mid tier speed mode is it's going to be hard. He could get out undersped easily, and he can get oversped easily if the opponent predicts the matchup right. But I think everything's pretty solid for Nexus. I think there's a lot going for him, and I'm hoping as a singles player he could have a strong performance with this team.
Yeah, I think all the teams like I'm seeing down the line, this like I think the clear synergies are appearing more, and this team is like the start of just a team that is just
Yeah.
built so like good. Like every Pokemon has like I can see why it's there and what it's gonna do on the team. Uh,
I mean, speaking of clear synergies,
yeah, we
this
can.
next team
The New
is
York Yveltals Joe X9, UX9, excuse
oh
me. Maybe one of the most decorated VGC players. Maybe a little a hot take is just like a high caliber player for a draft league that I guess I mean they're all super competitive, but it is for the content at the end of the day. So to see a accomplished player like Joe in is like really cool. I'm excited to see how he does in a draft league format. But
I
to
think
get Rillaboom gouging and Sneasler on a team as like just, I mean, you and I are both very big advocates of gouging fire, but this
yeah
this physical
yeah
this physical core is just so good. Double fake out, howl, like get booster gouging. Like you wanna
oh
bring
man
intimidate into this team. Like Milotic is just like gonna scare you away, and I mean some of the synergies at the bottom I think are more just like team fillers. Raikou is actually kind of cool, I guess. It's underrated E speed mon next to gouging. Mimikyu, a good fairy. Joe is a very decorated Mimikyu player, so I think that
uh,
mon will be very good for him. Reggie Steele, he's like with Iron Defense body press stuff. The Yanma Picket one's interesting as a tailwind setter, I guess, but
oh
uh,
Yamakook it has compound eyes unlike Yanmega, so at base 95 speed those hypnosises could actually be kind of annoying for most teams
the double
if they
hypnosis
don't have.
strat with Milotic Yanma.
Yeah, yeah, realistically, I mean, I, honestly, I think I'm just gonna talk about gouging for like 5 more minutes with this team. But I love the synergy it has. Like setting up Rilla, Sneasler, Mimikyu, Reggie Steele, like it is so strong. And like you said too, like I guess the occasional E-Speed Raikou, because that could throw a matchup off. I think Galar Moltres is a really cool dark type for this team. I think it just synergizes well. It gives me vibes of those Zamazenta teams that are running out there, that were running out there back in the day. Mimikyu, great value between Disguise, like the varying sets it can run, a Trick Room setter. Milotic, a really cool mon, punishes these Intimidate users that want to come in against the Sneasler Gouging Rilla. Uh, has uh, has setup sets with the coils. This team doesn't have a redirector, but I'm on the same wave as what I said about um, a team before. I forget whose team it was. I think it was. I don't even remember whose team it was. Oh, it was Mediterranean Mimikyu's. Viz. It was Viz's team. There's a lot of redirection by Threat on this team, and I think that's where Joe is really going to benefit. People are gonna sleep on him bringing Yanma 1 week, and it's gonna put everything to sleep. And this is a matchup that's gonna all of a sudden look bad for them because gouging or something is in the back. Sneasler has a way to proc unburden like that quickly on a team like this, and from an elite mon too and Rilla. Like there's so many good modes working for Joe on this team. Am it's hard to see him like not make playoffs because he absolutely cooked, and I think he's gonna come into a draft format and just show everyone like I'm built like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that is a good transition because we can say the same thing about Mr. James Beck and
Oh wait, we actually got to talk about this team.
the Jubilife Piplups, dude. I hate Dozo Tatsu, but I love this team. I can't
Oh
believe they let
my god,
I
dude.
can't believe they let James draft this team, dude. Oh my
He
god.
drafted an absolute demon team. Honestly, I don't want to call this the best team in the draft, but like overall with the mods on this team, this could arguably with like the synergies and mods and player piloting them, like I think James might like be the favorite to win this draft league with a team like this. And like that's not even like a crazy take because in Smogon draft I've seen Dozo top 8, like 4 out of 8 in the Reg C and Reg F tournaments. Uh Dozo played by the right player is really strong, and there's just so much going on here for James's team. Breaking it down is going to be insane.
Did you prep so hard for like Dozo Tatsu strats and you get Glim Dozo Tinglu Toxic Ruination Sandtomb like just trapped,
Oh,
and then
stop.
Goldengo and Amorous and Meowscarada clean up the mess. I mean, Goldengo is one of the most broken Pokemon ever made, and to have it on this team as just like a, I mean, I will say Goldengo benefits from like Tailwind. I think maybe fitting a Murkrow on this team if that was an option at some
Oh, you.
point would have been really good. But
He's got a Fletchender. He's
yeah,
good.
that's I don't know how I feel about the Fletchinder as the Tailwind option, but I
Dude,
still
Gale Wings Tailwind, man. You got to get it done how you get it done sometimes in draft.
it is I guess value for 2 points, but I'm
Yeah.
excited to see James tilt the life out of people with this team and absolutely cook
I mean,
some people.
yeah, James's top 3, Paldean, Torios, Meow, and Tatsu, just like it looks like a typical Dozo team from back in the day. And like just having that solid core, like, you know, if if everyone really wanted to prep into that 6, and like then you have to play around the Tinglu and Amorous and Fletchender or whatever, and like that could also come into this matchup. Like you're basically prepping for 2 different matchups here, and that's going to be the hardest part about James's team. I have no complaints. He doesn't have wide. Does he have wide guard? No, he doesn't.
He
I
fails the
don't think
wide
he
guard
needs it.
check.
I don't even care. This team is that good. uh, it's yeah. I
But
literally have no
who needs
complaints.
wide guard when you only have one Pokemon on the field during a time and it's got a double Omni boost?
Oh, for sure.
Dozo
I
at 10 points is crazy, crazy.
I think I think Meow is a really good Scarf user for the teams that overspeed his modes. and it's also like an elite band user for the teams that underspeed. I think there's so much gameplay within that mon, and he could set Trick Room with it if he really wants to. That is another set that people like might not know about. Koros, cool Intimidate mon, good typing.
Great typing.
Enamorous is in, yeah, Enamorous is interesting. I'd like to see how he plays with it, but like, I know James,
Yo,
I know James has
someone tell me
something
why
with it.
Enamorous is 17 points and Valiant is 12. like,
Okay, yeah. Actually,
like,
somebody tell me that too.
dude,
Honestly,
can you
a
imagine this
single player
team?
definitely made this tier list.
Could you
Single player
imagine if
worked on
this,
this tier list.
like, if this team had Valiant instead of Enamorous at 12 points, and then there was like more value elsewhere, like a different Tailwind setter than Fletchinger? Like, oh my god.
Yeah. You know what? I say this is a singles tier list, but then Valiant would have been 19. So, um, yeah, Enamorous at 17 is interesting. I guess people really fear the contrary sets, like next to it's different like Crockers, but it's cool. I don't think it's a bad mod.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm. I think I'm ready to get going on this next team
Yeah,
because
I also really like this team too. This team is like, dude, from nine, even like we can talk about the last four picks, but dude, from Torn to Sylveon, like this team looks so nasty. I think Landorus is the best special attacker in this format. I think I maybe could go as far as saying that outside of like Flutter Mane, but I think ground like the special ground move is like having Earth Power and even Sandseer Storm is like just so broken, and I think Bax, Arcanine, and Tailwind are going to be so broken. Having priority stopping with Serena and being your grass type, like this Fire Water Grass of Arcanine, Serena, Quackable is just so good. Even Typhlosion in there too. You have this team got a 6 point eruption mod with Prankster Tailwind, and getting
um.
even just getting like torn this late in the draft as your first overall pick is like astonishing to me, honestly.
So there was one team I said before. It was Necro. It was right above where I said Hayes is your best friend in that matchup. I look at this team, and if I'm going against them, Wideguard's my best friend in this matchup. And I might have sounded like a crazy old man for the last 10 people, but you literally need wide. There is so much spread damage and powerful spread damage, nonetheless, this team provides. And not having Wideguard will actually punish you in this matchup because having a manual rain or yeah manual rain setter with Tornadus into a Lando mode, a back that is going to take neutral damage now, or well, I mean it already takes neutral, but less damage from fire type moves, and now resisted in rain. It can get the strong thermal exchange on switching. A Sylveon, between specs and third spray sets, it's always just like a strong piece. Calm mind for the occasional weeks where special attackers are going to struggle to take it down. I haven't even talked about Quaquaval in rain. Quaquaval, super fast setup. You set up Tailwind for it, and it can get going fast into a few Aqua Steps and Moxie boosts. And when the Tailwind's up, then it's too late if he's still on the board. Typhlosion with the Sun mode, and Torn's providing both weathers for this team. I think really benefits it because you have mods like Hisui Arcanine and Typhlosion who can eat in Sun, and Lando, Bax, Quaquaval, Serena to a T that can like eat in rain. Hisui, Sneasel, and Skiploom. I especially Skiploom. I'm actually looking at that mod's stats now, and 80 speed chlorophyll mod, but also the underrated infiltrator. You're gonna be ignoring substitutes on off weeks. Like I guess if you really bring the Skiploom, and I think Sneasel at 3 is really good value as well. People forget that Sneasel um, Sneasel existed by itself for 2 gens before Revile came out, and then Arceus came out, and uh, they made a whole nother version. But like base Sneasel stats are really good for what it's at 3. It's a really strong stash option in a lot of weeks. A great fake out
Its
user.
speed tier is like very good value. I think at 3 points.
Yeah, 115. It doesn't have Unburden, sadly, or Actually, I'm gonna lie. If it's
It
not,
has inner
it's literally
focus,
running inner
no?
focus.
Yeah.
It's literally running inner focus every week. So pickpocket and whatever other ability I said that wasn't good or just like not enough to justify. I don't think, but overall, I think Keeley has a strong team here. I'm pretty sure they're a VGC player, and I could tell like drafting a team like this. So I like to see how they do against against the other VGC players and some of the singles players who are familiar with the draft setting. But a team like this can definitely cook, and I think that's a good track to move on to the next team, the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Bengals by Moxie Boosted with a
Yo,
really strong.
little
Uh,
disappointed to not see Wochan on this team. I won't lie. Kind of dropped the ball on that one, but
uh, I was gonna say could use a good grass type, but it's got Obama Snow, and then I was like, it still could use a good grass type. Um,
dude,
it's a good team.
can we
I think
talk
it's
about
got a
this? The
what's
nine
that?
point Palafin, 9 points.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
crazy.
You know what? I'm gonna keep it a stack. I think 13-point Arcanine is just as good a value as I mean, 9-point Palafin is really crazy, but 13-point Arcanine is really good too. I them on pretty other than Rock Slide, it does a lot of the same things that Hisui could do, and I really think that Moxie put together like a good like typing coverage team. I'm getting a lot of heavy Reg C vibes from his team, but it's going to be hard to take down between the alternating pieces. Honestly, I want to hear your opinion on how you feel about Petron. I'm curious as to how that mon synergizes and plays on
Yeah,
this team.
I don't really know. It's a. I don't know. I really don't know what it's gonna do. Like the fact that that thing's 13 points and Palafin's 9 points is like I don't understand. I just don't get it. Uh,
Yeah, 160 defense is crazy. 88 in every base tap, but 160 defense.
like I don't know
You
what it,
know,
like resist. It's like a fairy resist, I guess, for Como.
mhm.
But I don't know, man. I'm like when I look at this team, I think it pass it. Sorry, it fails the wide guard check, and
Yep, yeah.
but it. I think this team really needs redirection. Like,
This team, I hate to say it too. Fun fact: this team fails the redirection check as well. Cleffa does not learn follow me. For those out there who thought it did.
yeah, I think he might have thought it did, and, like just took it, and is gonna be severely
Yeah.
disappointed. But
Mhm.
dude, this team
Um.
is like really missing redirection. Like there's a lot of setup. Like King Gambit wants a Swords Dance. Como has a ton of setup moves. Uh, in order to protect Palafin when you swap out, like, and you have like Arcanine and you have Comfey that can heal up things, and there's Fake Out at least with like Alolan Raichu, but like,
I
I
think Moxie has a really good pivoting team. I think there's a lot of pieces that could pivot defensively for his team. Palafin into Petron. If there's that Grassmon on the board, that's a free Petron, or even Abomasnow. Abomasnow, counterintuitive to uh, water or electric and grass type moves. Abomasnow like as just like a naturally like really good pivot, and it could benefit with bundle. Like you have Veil with it. Like you don't want to see Palafin behind Veil. Arcanine can intimidate, pivot, wisp, and at a good speed. You know, Petra with Malignant Chain, recover. Uh, it has a lot of it has a lot of like really good bulk, but naturally good offensive typings. Gambit. I mean, everyone's familiar with Gambit's game. Gambit falling as far as it did to Moxie is a really good steal, I think.
yeah, I mean,
Bundle as well. Two very strong picks. I've cooked with this in a singles league, and like singles is different than doubles, but like really great really good synergy.
I think King Gambit scares me a little bit because of its 4 times weakness. He also went Como with a 4 times weakness, and Bundle in general isn't the bulkiest of lads. I mean, Abomasnow will help its bulk a lot, but I then like,
Oh wait, you mean the one with the 4 times weakness?
well, it'll at least give it a defense boost in the snow, But yeah, I think Palafin, Arcanine, Comfey will really, and I guess Friend Guard. Comfey does get Friend Guard, I think, if it's not
It does
redirecting. Yeah,
for
so
certain.
there's
Yep.
some help with the bulk on this team, despite some glaring weaknesses, and obviously Terror is a thing. But I would have very much liked to see this team have some redirection, and I guess bundles fine speed control. Comfey gets tail end and trick room, which is pretty cool, but neither are a
Yeah,
priority. But obviously trick room's never a priority, but you know what I mean.
I hate to say it, with 28 defense, 50 HP, 55 SPDF. Not 55, not bad for a first stage mon. I don't know how much friend guard and Clef is going to be doing.
Yeah,
But I think Moxie will cook with it. A known doubles player, known for using weird stuff. Like this just seems like a natural fit for him.
yeah.
Uh, so
Uh,
I'm excited.
for
Yeah,
sure.
let's go. Let's get into this next team. Honestly,
Yo,
all these other teams
what
are cool,
what is
but
Hoopa's
like
special attack?
hyperspace hole, I think it's
No, no,
called.
no. Like,
I gotta look it up.
what is its like? Isn't it base
Uh,
170?
you ready for this? Yeah, I'll fire off some Hoopa stats for you. 80 base HP, mids. 160 base attack, good. 100, or 60 defense, mids. 170 special attack,
God,
amazing. Yo, 160 attack, 170 special attack, 130 SPDF,
dude.
crazy. 80 speed. Welcome to the format, Hoopa.
I'm
I
pretty
am so
sure.
excited to see
I'm
this mod.
pretty sure it gets expanding force as well.
It does get expanding force. Welcome to the game,
Oh,
Hoopa.
dude, this
Yo,
is.
oh, you ready? Yo, you ready for this one? Its signature move, Hyperspace Fury, base 100, no accuracy check, lowers user's defense by 1, and breaks protect. Boom. Oh my god, Hoopa cook.
Dude,
Hoopa is crazy. I can see why this is the first mythical gone, and Amel just drafting Ndidi right after. He just broadened it. Hoopa, I thought Hoopa and Ndidi was like a little bit weird when I saw a lot of the other first two picks, but like, dude, this is so strong. I am so excited to
dude,
see this.
in the current meta, like, or just like, I guess the Reg F meta, if you're versing size spam, the strongest one is Hatterene at like 130 something special attack. Hoopa's 170, bro. Like, what are we
Now,
like?
Lifeorb Hoopa's crazy.
That
Yo, you
expanding force will kill all
uh,
anything that doesn't resist it. Like, that's actually
Yo,
just
you see
super
why we were
good.
having wide guard checks, brother? That's why. That's why we're having wide guard checks.
Oh my
Because I did not
god,
see
dude.
switches to this. They like you could bring in a dark type, but Hoopa's coverage. I don't know if you've ever seen the coverage this mon has. It is insane. It's crazy, and like you have the occasional trick room with it, like. Which I don't know if Trick Room is the most optimal for this team. This is a faster
Yeah,
team that Amel has.
Shocks,
I think
Rabombi, Shaman, like Okidogi's pretty
yeah,
mid speed tier. Like, I think,
after the first two,
yeah,
I don't want to say his team falls off, but I think roles definitely start to fall off.
you could run Scarf on the Hoopa. Like, what's its speed stat?
80.
Dude, you
Scarf
just
is
scarf
valid.
it. You just scarf it and click expanding force. Like,
Oh, but you have Rabombi Tailwind. Rabombi's a really fast Reg F mon. Like he's not in a bad spot whatsoever.
for sure.
I think Dogi's really cool. Dirge is really cool with setup. It seems like Indeedy's gonna be clicking follow me a lot. Does Rabombi learn Rage Powder too?
No, I don't believe so. I don't think it does. But
Nah,
this
it
team,
doesn't.
this
But
team does fail the. Oh no, I was gonna say it fails the redirection. He's got freaking Indeedy. Ignore me.
yeah,
It's. I think Okidogi's really really strong. It's a very good value pick
it's
at 13. I'm
oh,
excited.
it's crazy
I'm so
typing with
excited to see
Hoopa too.
Shaman. Yeah, I'm so excited to
Yeah.
see Shaman. I was talking to when I was talking to Shuckle King about drafting. I was like, I really thought Shaman Sky would be cool. Like, I think that speed stat and its support and move coverage is just so strong, and I think Serene Grace Air Slash will just win Amel some weeks. For like flinching in VGC is so good, so I'm excited to
Yeah.
see Dasmon.
We another thing that we're really sleeping on is we talked about War Turtle as a fake out support mod at one point before, but like now you have big man Blastoise and like that Indeedee follow me redirect into the Shell Smash.
Dude,
I'm gonna drive myself crazy saying that, but like you better have your wide guard mon because that brother's gonna be water spouting after, and
yo,
it's gonna do a lot of damage.
anything on this? I guess nothing gets faint, and you can't click faint in psychic terrain, but like stopping wide guard
Yeah.
would be like so big on this team. But
hmm
yeah, I'm excited to see Hoopa Unbound be truly
Oh,
unbound.
Amel being the base singles player chef that he is too. This is the last set that I want to talk about. But Ursaring, so what Ursaring could actually do differently than Ursaluna is like run bulk up sets. So like it kind of has that way to build up its defense on top of the Eviolite. And then when it clicks rest and sleep talk, that's how he gets its guts boost. So good luck if it lands that one attack. Good luck because it's going to be very hard to take down as a normal type in this meta. And I really think I say threat by redirection, but like Amel has the threats and he has the redirection, and I, he's like one of the best singles cookers that performs in this draft league. So I'm really excited to see how he cooks with this team in doubles. Not definitely not the best team, but a player like him with this team is dangerous.
Yeah, for sure. All right,
Mm.
3 more teams.
Yeah.
Let's do this. We've been talking a while.
We'll power through this. We got Clover Bells,
Clover Bells,
Oklahoma City T-Bolts.
shout out Clover Bells, BGC YouTuber and player. Went with the classic Ursaluna Blood Moon Farigiraf. He's got Murkrow and Hisuian Typhlosion.
And Schmeagle.
Schmeargle is a disgusting Pokemon, as I'm sure everyone knows. I think this team's Trick Room and Tail like this is like a perfect Tail Room draft. Yeah. It's one of the best Tail Room teams I've seen. So if he can use speed control correctly, I mean this team is so nasty. And you want to talk about roll compression? The White Guard check, the everything check, falls on the 17.
The bottom tier.
Well, I was gonna say the 17-point Smeargle can do everything.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I said Wide Guard Haze before for 2 teams. Toxapex at 3 points covers both.
Dude.
So
he's got Spore and Redirection and Brute Bonnet. Tusk as a tailwind, like damage mon is so good.
Yeah.
Trick Room having Glacier and Ursaluna, like sleeper.
Yeah, that's a crazy combo.
Hisuian Typhlosion at 7 points is nuts.
Yeah.
Frisk.
It's a crazy world we live in.
Frisk Eruption, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, you have Tailwind with Murkrow with Eruption, and you have Farig to help with Sucker Punches, bro. This is nuts.
Double redirection between Smeargle, who's always assumed to run it, and Brute Bonnet, who's probably gonna run it. A really strong Sun mode to play into weather. I wouldn't say a really strong Rain mode. Rain is definitely going to be really hard for this team, but that's why Wide Guard exists mostly. And Brute Bonnet's going to be a good redirector for Rain. And I mean, Toxapex will sit on the field for 5 turns of Rain and take like 30 damage.
Don't sleep on like infestation strats with Toxapex and stuff. So like
that Spore infestation is your that's your fissure your Phantom Yawn.
Literally, dude. These I'm intrigued to see how singles players deal with both their Pokemon going to sleep. There's no sleep clause over here.
Cloverbells being a VGC player, you drafted a very VGC-oriented team. I think there's a lot of cooking on this team. I think Decorate Smeargle is dangerous no matter what speed tier is being played with this team. Really good type coverages. This is another team where I think it could use a steel type, but all in all, like, I think it's a crazy team. I think he's definitely looking to have a good season with strong, weather Trick Room options. I 2 more teams. And speaking of weather options,
this is a disgusting
Rain. Yeah,
disgusting Rain team, I will say.
Yeah, my least favorite weather of all time, Rain. But this is a really great Rain team.
Arch Mousehold, Arch Mousehold, Basket Legion Pelipper is like insane, and you have Overquill, also Swift Swim, and Thundurus, which is good value, can set Rain, just good prankster.
Question: Are you gonna have a good electric matchup into this team?
What do you mean?
No, you won't, because there's a freaking Rhyperior on this team.
Yeah,
no electric matchup.
Lightning Rod Rhyperior is so valuable.
I'm excited. Intimidate Weirdeer.
Shout out Weirdeer. Even a Trick Room mode.
Overquill can intimidate too.
Yeah, you can run Intimidate, double Intimidate. Dude, Virizian's like kind of ass, but like good value for 4 points, honestly.
No, I think it actually really works on this team. I think it provides the coverages that this team doesn't have. I think Mount to Cook, as a singles player, they found a really strong comp and they built really well around it. Arch, uh, Arch is 19 points, and there's a reason why Arch is 19 points. We do not talk. As VGC players, I don't think we talk about how many sets. Like, I mean, you got to really see it in Reg H, but like, there are so many different sets that this thing can run.
Yeah.
It's actually disgusting. You're gonna click follow me one day and think that you're safe against the Arch, and you're not. Like, that's the crazy part about a mon like this. Mousehold, you're gonna think it's gonna click follow me one day, and then you're gonna see your hopes and dreams die. Like when it clicks paranormal pop bomb, like a lot of going pieces, a fast.
I will
frame
say
rate.
Mousehold's a little worse in open Terra because you don't know. Like I feel like you're not Terra normal if you're gonna be the follow me support mouse, but
Yeah.
we'll see how Mount deals with that. I think you can just bait. You might just have to run Terra normal when you're running the support mouse to just make them expect pop bomb. Like I don't know how that's gonna work, but
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see.
For certain.
But
Basket Legion is definitely interesting. I think this team might have a struggle against other weather matchups because I mean Thundy Eye is manual weather, which is really nice for this team, and there's a lot of fast mods that can reset the weather, but that's like my one concern about this team. It passes the check. Pelipper, great mod. You're gonna be bringing it every week with this team anyway, so
yeah, for sure. I feel like Rain. I feel like this team's pretty self-explanatory, honestly. Like, it's just they got all the good Rain mons, and I don't know how that happened. It's kind of what happened here.
I think a fun season should be cool for Mounta. Excited to see.
We'll see if weather
Rain,
prevails.
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really. I hate Arch, but I think this team cooks. So, best of luck to them. And last but not least, the GOAT.
The best for last, the GOAT, Aaron.
Yeah.
Cybertron.
We
Zhang.
literally couldn't talk about anyone better last. Like, this guy's awesome. Everyone knows him. Like YouTuber, commentator, infamous VGC player. Even in the singles community, when he played the Smogon Stars tournament, he's played against a lot of these people before in different formats. So I'm really excited for Aaron, and I like his team a lot.
Yeah, I think having the wheel pick and going Cresselia Ursaluna is like so nasty, and then pairing it with Grim and Spectrier and Enamorus is like so like dude, Enamorus Ursaluna is disgusting in Trick Room. That is so much good synergy. The Vivillon support is like really cool with Ursaluna. I think you could even run a tail room team, and then Baby Ensign. Like we're talking about value, like Torracat at 8 points is like really really good support with EBL8, and like Wo-Chien and Tauros to end your draft are just good steal. Like Tauros for 10 points, water fighting type. Wo-Chien is just such good value. Like obviously you don't want it next to Ursaluna, but the rest of the team, like, it's completely fine sitting next to Wo-Chien, and that kind of stall with, like, Leech Seed and Cresselia. Like, Wo-Chien, Cresselia stalling the hell out of your team sounds like a nightmare to play against behind screens. Like, Vivillon sleep powdering things. Like, it just sounds disgusting.
Vivillon Rage
honestly.
Powder, too.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I mean, Cresselia's best friend in a closed team sheet format, Ally Switch. Like, you got honestly, this type synergies are so good that you have to like call targeting a lot, and like there's redirection as well, fake out. I really like what Aaron has going on here because you have, I mean, Grim too. Like you have that defensive mode that's gonna sit on the field, and like when the timing's right, Spectre is basically, I mean, he's got a lot of mons that are like kind of like great value versions of each other because Spectre is going to do Kali Shadow things on a team like this. Like when everything's broken down and weak from the bulky part of this team, this is when Spectre comes in and punishes. Like, you know, Wo-Chien and Torracat, like it doesn't get much better than that. How much, and Reflect as well. Like, good luck to all the physical attackers out there. prepping for that week, it is going to be so hard to break through Aaron. Having a 4 times Dark Resist and Grim as well for the Spectrier. Um, Aldean Tauros, who has really good Dark type matchups. There's so much going on for him here. I don't know how much better we could talk about a team like this. There's one thing it's missing, and I'm not going to say it because I think everyone gets the point. But it's I mean, this team just works. Like he doesn't even need wide guard. Like the only move he's gonna click with wide guard is EQ with Ursaluna sometimes. But
He's gotten crazy.
or maybe
Dude, you can earthquake.
Angry.
You can earthquake with Ursaluna next to Cress, next to Enamorus, next to Viv, next to Wochien. I mean, Wochien, Ursaluna a little anti synergy, but you can comfortably earthquake next to it. Like Ursaluna's so strong, it's still doing crazy damage if Wochien's on the field.
Enamorus is gonna be hell for teams behind screens. And it's crazy. You and I, we had experience against playing Enamorus in a double setting, so we know what it's like. But now you're adding screens to this, bro. This mon is 110 defense, 100 spadef on top of the 115 attack, 135 special attack. There is not a better breaker that he could have gotten with this team, or just sitting on the field and eating attacks and dishing out as much damage. I am really excited. This is a perfect end note because a team like this just is what draft is all about. These mons, they seem like they're so off, but together there's just such strong synergy. There's so much damage mitigation. I love everything that Aaron's got going on here.
Yeah, the bulk, damage mitigation, and still just doing so much damage with things like Ursaluna Spectre or Enamorus, so
Yeah.
strong.
I think the only games that Aaron loses is maybe missing a Wisp from Torracat or a T-Wave on Grim.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's covered.
It would be the embodiment of the Melbourne Rotoms to miss with a Wisp, but yeah, I think. Oh, all right. To end, we'll just say strongest team. Your favorite.
Okay.
Your favorite team, I guess.
Honestly, this might be recency bias, but I love honestly, there's no wide guard, so it failed my check there, but I don't even care. I am a sucker for Aaron's team with the screens, the Ursaluna, the Crest. That is a hard team to take down, and that there's a lot of mods that can run so many different sets. You might actually hit the Ursaluna one week with a grass move, and it's gonna be Sap Sipper in your face. Is it learn Sap Sipper? No, this isn't the Sap Sipper one. It has bulletproof. Okay, so there's gonna be a week where you ain't get an energy ball fired off on you, and it's gonna ignore it. But okay, but this team's really good. How about you? I'm curious to hear how you rank these teams.
I'm between James and Sierra, I think.
I pick James.
Yeah. It's hard to not pick James's team if I'm being honest. And that's I love solo Dozo. Okay, I love it. Dozo next to the stupid Tatsugiri. I can't. This James's team is astounding to me because of the point value in some of these mons. It is all backwards to me. Tatsugiri being
honestly,
15 and Dozo 10. Dude, Fire Tauros at 9. Why Enamorus Ting Lu at 14 is crazy.
kind of crazy too, bro.
Yeah,
you know what? And can we talk about how Fire Tauros is 9 points and Torracat is 8? That, it's that itself, a middle evolution with Intimidate or a full evolution with arguably a better typing
and just good offenses and
fast Wisp, dude. It is a lot of value there in James's team, which I really like. And another thing is too that it's underrated. There's weeks you don't have to bring Lamora if you have a Sash Meow set with T spikes. You still have ways to distribute. His team is gonna punish Pokeaim's #1 singles rule and grounded poison types. He's gonna have a field day with spikes and stall in that week, and there's not gonna be much.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope James and Aaron play each other. We can make a bet on whose favorite team is gonna win that matchup because that's an interesting matchup there between those two.
Yeah, and then I'll say honorable mention, not for favorite team overall, but just I'm so excited to
Good
see. I'm so excited to see
Yeah.
Hoopa Bound click expanding force. I can't wait.
Oh, stop! Yeah,
I can't.
Amel cooked. He's the I don't know if you ever seen the Ice Cube in singles, but he's got a crazy game with the I forget how it went, but it basically revolved around Snow being up and like belly drum and then it getting its ice face back like every turn in the set. Like it kept clicking Snowscape. I like he's crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I think we're looking forward to a good season, like content wise, and it's gonna feed families for a few weeks, especially ones that like love singles draft or BGC draft. It's gonna be the best of both worlds between like some of the best content creators in the game,
Yeah,
and
definitely
it's good,
unprecedented to
good
have
play.
this like talented. Like since the WBE, like we haven't had something like this in so long, and you could argue that this league has like honestly more talent than the WBE had outside the WBE having Wolf. So this is just gonna be
Yeah,
like just a crazy watch, and I cannot wait for it to get started. But we have yapped for a super long time, honestly longer than I wanted, but it
yeah.
was a
I bet
good
everyone wants us
time.
to shut up now.
It was a good time seeing the teams pass the wide guard check. So thanks for thanks for everyone tuning in if you were here. Uh, Hopefully more stuff analyzing the Shuckle Premier League and maybe even our own draft league that I run and Alex is a part of. Hopefully do some content there as well. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for Alex for joining me. Would have been a lot harder to do without you. So thank you, sir.
No, no. Thanks for having me. Honestly, like I love talking about draft and like it's cool like how we both have the insight into both leagues, so we can really break down and discuss different like viewpoints of how this league might go. So it was a really fun time discussing it, and I'm excited for the season to start for this league.
For sure. All right. And with that being said, thanks again for
Peace
watching
out. Bye bye.
and peace.